Solve and graph. We have done this before. Take a look at this first problem here. Let's say I have 3x minus 8 is less than or equal to 16. What do I do with this? Does anybody know? Anybody know? Anybody know? First thing we have to do is solve it. How do I solve it? Evan?
You can make the equal sign into the equal sign and then you can
Solve it just like an equation. How do I solve this if it was an equation? Christine, first thing I would do is?
Make the x by itself.
And how do I do that? First thing I would do is?
If that's positive, you subtract.
Negative. This is the last thing I deal with. Any equations we've been doing for a long time. Your first thing, Christian? Right. You want to get rid of the number that's not by the x first. Do the opposite. It's subtracting 8, so I add 8. I add 8, so now I get 3x is less than or equal to 24. Now, Christine, how do I separate the 3 from the x here? It's just 3 times x equals 24. I divide. It's the same thing we've always done here. Divide by 3. X is less than or equal to 8. So when I graph it, all I really need to see is here at 8, is it an open or a closed circle? Closed, because it can be equal to 8. Put a little closed circle there. And the arrow shoots off to the left here, because it goes all the things that are less than 8. So that's what I should see for your thing there. That, however, isn't today's lesson. Okay. Today's lesson talks about what happens when you have a negative variable, or negative coefficient, I guess as it says. And I'm going to look at the same exact problem again, except with the negative in front, which means this. Negative 3x plus 8 is less than or equal to, what was it? 16. Okay. Everything gets done the same except the very last step. And here's the spiel. So I still subtract 8. I'm sorry, this should have been minus 8. So I add 8, correct? So I get 24. Here is the deal. Okay, number one, my x always needs to end up, wow, this needs to end up positive. Must be positive. How do I make this positive? Well, let's get rid of the 3 first, can I? How did I get rid of the 3 last time? Same thing. Divide by 3, divide by 3. I now have a negative x is less than or equal to 8. You with me? Same thing we just did. This is not allowed to happen. You cannot have a negative variable at the end when you're done. Okay? God bless you, Lord. And the fix on it is really easy. Okay? The fix is simply to do this. Make this positive, make this negative, do their opposite, 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 opposite. The sign must change as well. Okay? Opposite, opposite, opposite. And then the graph of this actually goes in the opposite direction. At negative 8, it's still a closed circle, but this circle goes off in this direction. So if you ever end up with a negative letter here, you must change, in the end, you're going to change it, the sign, and the letter that's on the number on the other side. Let me show you another, for example, for instance here. One right out of the book. Let's do a hard one. Negative 5x plus 25 is greater than 5 times x minus 5. It's a tough one, but well within your ability to do it. First thing I should do is just like with complex equations, simplify both sides. Not sure what's going on with this thing. Can I put anything together on this side? Negative 5x plus 25? No, it stays negative 5x plus 25. What do I have to do over here? Peter?
Expand.
Expand it, and I get 5 what? X
Minus 25.
minus 25. Distributive property. 5 times x, 5 times negative 5. Now what? Alex?
Subtract.
Sure. As long as we're at the same goal here. We're going to get all our x's to one side, all our numbers to the other side. So Alex said, let's subtract this 25. Subtract this 25. What do I end up with? Negative 25 and a negative 25? Negative 50. Now what? Grace? Need to get my x's all on one side, so
In the negative 10.
not yet. Last step. How do I get this 5x over here? Because I need it all on one side. Just simply subtract it over. It's positive 5x, so I subtract it over. What's a negative 5x and another negative 5x? Negative 10x. Looks like we may be catching on to that. Now to get x by itself, I have to divide by what's in front of the x, which is 10. So I'm going to divide just by 10. I end up with a negative x is greater than negative 5. Not allowed to keep this x negative, so what do? Opposite, opposite, opposite. Positive x less than positive 5. So where there's open circle or closed, it's open because there's no equal. And that's what it would look like. One more, you say. I'll let you try this one. It's not quite as hard. 7x plus 2 less than or equal to 8x plus 4. See if you can't solve that one for me. And in these inequalities, the x always has to be on the left side. Always bring your letters to the left side. Answer yet? Anybody? Remember, you're supposed to solve and graph. Calvin, what'd you come up with?
X is greater than or equal to 2.
X is greater than or equal to 2. Anybody else get that? Somebody get anything else? Peter, what'd you get?
I got X is greater than or equal to -2.
Negative 2. Everybody get that? Oh, we're split. I see a couple here. Let's take a look here. Well, if you move your x's to one side, your numbers to the other, you subtract 8x, you're left with a negative x plus 2 less than or equal to 4. Subtract 2, you're left with a negative x less than or equal to positive 2. This cannot remain negative, so you have to change opposite, opposite, opposite. Opposite, opposite, opposite. X is negative 2. And then the graph of that, negative 2, colored in circle, x is greater than goes this way. You see where the errors of our way were? Opposite, opposite, opposite. One more last one. Chance for redemption. Negative 5 times x minus 3 in parentheses is greater than 5 times x minus 3 in parentheses. What do we get? Gary?
3 going
3, wait, x is less than or greater than or equal to what?
I just got this.
Eli?
X is less than 3.
X is less than 3. Anybody have that one? Can we get something else? Everybody's afraid. Well, I should have done this. You got distributive property. Negative 5x, negative times a negative is a positive 15. 5 times x, 5 times a negative 3. Moving your x is all to one side. You subtract 5x, that gives you a negative 10x over here. Plus 15 is greater than negative 15. Subtract 15, you get negative 30, negative 10x. Divide by 10, negative x is greater than negative 3. Opposite, opposite, opposite gives you positive x less than 3. Oh, look at, there's that little heart symbol. So at 3, open circle goes this way. Isn't there? Where was it? This one.
Okay.
No, we don't connect it, it looks like this. No connecting there.